Have you protected your estate against long-term care fees? Today we're going to look at an example of Bob and his wife Jan. They're homeowners with some savings. Now Bob and Jan own their own house jointly. It's worth £300,000. Along with this, they have around £50,000 in savings. In an ideal world, Bob and Jan want to leave their house, along with any monies, to their children Stephen and Emily, when the last one of them dies. However, Bob dies first, leaving the house to Jan, 100%. Jan is now a widow, owning the house fully, 100%. Jan carries on living. But unfortunately, Jan ends up in a care home with dementia. As she has assets over £23,000, she has to fully fund all her care. Her house is sold quickly for £280,000. She has little savings left, just enough to cover her funeral costs. Now the cost of Jan's care is nearly £1,300 a week, or just over £5,000 a month. Her income from her pensions is only £1,000 a month, leaving Jan nearly £4,000 short every month. This means that in less than 6 years, everything Bob and Jan had lived for could be taken before the last person's will had come into play, meaning the children could receive nothing. Now this is all too familiar a story, as we are living longer, with care now being part of everyday life. So what can you do to protect your home? Well, let's take that example again, but with a few tweaks. Bob and Jan changed the ownership of their house to a 50-50 split. It's called tenants in common. This legally means that Bob owns 50% of the property, as does Jan. Bob dies first, but this time leaves his 50% to the children in trust via his will. So on first death, half the property is owned by Stephen and Emily. The trust holds the children's half, with a life interest for Jan in her lifetime, giving her full use of all the house until the day she dies. Now in this example, Jan still ends up in care with dementia and is financially assessed for care. Now Jan can only be financially assessed on the assets that are in her name. Half the house cannot be assessed, as it's already in trust for the children. So only Jan's half of the house can be used to fund her care fees. That's a saving of £140,000 the local authorities cannot take into account for care fees. So by simply owning your house as tenants in common on a 50-50 basis and drawing up property protection trust wills, if one of you dies, you guarantee a minimum of half the house will always go to your children when the last one dies. Would you like to know more? We'll use our contact details on our website to request an appointment for a free home visit or a video meeting.